my screen. So Pippa, I might just, and Michelle, leave you to admit people as they come in, if that's okay, and then we'll just make a start. So welcome everybody. So I've already done a little bit of housekeeping, and that is that we are recording the session so that you can go back and watch it later, and for the people that couldn't join us can watch it as well. We are going to use the chat function. So if you've got specific questions that are urgent and you wanted to post those, you can type them into the chat function. Otherwise, we will open up for questions at the end of both myself and Pippa presenting. So for those of you that I haven't met via email, my name's Amanda Ferguson and I'm the Project Development Officer with Fuel to Go and Play. And we also have online Pippa Gordon, who's from Containers for Change, the Community Development Lead. And we also have Michelle Reiki, who's the Project Manager for the Fuel to Go and Play and the Community Nutrition Services project as well. So I did want to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land. Sorry, and I'm having a problem now because my cursor is not working. There we go. I'd like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we work, the Whadjuk people. And I can tell you today that I am in Karrinyup, and the Aboriginal word meaning the place where bush kangaroos graze, which is actually quite significant because there's a lot of kangaroos around where I live in the country club here. I pay my respects to elders both past, present and emerging, and extend our gratitude to all people of the Noongar Nation. It's a privilege to work and live on Noongar country. So we acknowledge all the lands on which everybody is coming from today. So the agenda today is I'm just going to be speaking about the Healthy Sports program. That's the Healthway funded program. Some of you have already applied for a grant. Some of you are wanting to have more information about how you do that and what you can use the funds for. And we've got the fantastic Tanya, who's from the Albany Equestrian Centre, who's going to be presenting just a brief overview of what she's done with her funds. And then Pippa from Containers for Change will go through the reasons why you should be collecting 10-cent containers in WA, as well as presenting a case study as well, and all the details that you need to know about how to get started in that program. I promise you that we will finish as close to 7:30 as possible. So the Healthy Sports Club program, for those of you that are not aware, is funded by Healthway, and it's part of their Healthy Spaces program. So it's available to all West Australian community sporting clubs and district associations. And basically, if you have an ABN, you're eligible to apply if you're a sports club. And the idea is to increase healthy food and drink options at club-run canteens and kiosks. This is one of Healthway's key initiatives because they understand the importance of inspiring a love of healthy food and drinks amongst young people, and the role that local sports clubs can play with the health and wellbeing in our communities. It's been designed to assist local sporting clubs provide young players with food and drinks that they need to perform at their best. And we use the tagline about, the fuel to go and play, because really that's what this is about, refueling to be your best. Clubs and district associations can apply for up to $4,000 in funding to implement initiatives, as well as improving canteen facilities. Got a very sticky keyboard today for some reason, I'm sorry. And I'm having a problem getting my mouse to work. Okay. So as a start, I just wanted to talk to you about the clubs that don't have a food service, because Healthway changed their this initiative last year because a lot of clubs that didn't have a canteen or a kiosk or a food service were wondering how they could apply for some funding to still run some kind of initiative for both their spectators and their members and players. So if you don't have a food service at your club, you can still apply for up to $2,000. Of that $2,000, $500 of it can be used as by way of appointing a coordinator to manage that grant, and that can be a $500 voucher. So we understand that in clubs, the majority of people are volunteers, and Healthway understands that as well. So to ensure that the grant is implemented correctly and achieves the goals that Healthway want it to achieve, the coordinator is then able to use that $500 for their time. it's their choice as to whether they gift something like that back to the club or not, but it is there as part of the application. When you apply for a grant, you also need to complete Fuel to Go and Play training. If you don't have a food service, then you'd be completing the training that is specifically for coordinators and key officials. So this means that it doesn't focus on how you can change the food service, but the other initiatives that you can implement in your club if you don't have a canteen or a kiosk. You use the tools that we provide you to promote healthy eating, and you can do so many different things. I'm going to show you some really great examples of what some clubs have already done. So supplying free fruit and healthy snacks, setting up a water station, so buying the water, running a nutrition education session, and Fuel to Go and Play are there to help you facilitate that. Some clubs may have somebody that they can call on to run some brief information session for their players. And basically Fuel to Go and Play can either help you facilitate that so that the person delivering it covers all the same content that we would be covering, or Fuel to Go and Play can come and deliver that for you. You can also use the grant to purchase small equipment. And even if you don't have a food service, there are a number of things that you can still do. So buying an esky to store water in on those hot summer months, or storage containers perhaps for chopped fruit that you'd be providing for your players at halftime, at registration days, or other events such as whether you have specific training events during the course of the season. Okay, so I was being really smart and really clever, and I had all these animations that were just going to drop in there, and you were all going to be wowed by my brilliance, but that's clearly not going to happen. So these are just some examples of what some clubs have been able to do with their funds, and I'll just drag these ones over. So you can see here some fruit and vegetable activations. So remembering this is for canteens, for clubs that don't have a food service. So people have either had fruit and vegetables donated, or they've used the funds to buy them, maybe even purchase the tubs. Perhaps you needed to buy an esky to store the items in. You can see that they've done some displays by having posters up and the little blackboards that are there. When you apply for your grant and then you're successful, we deliver you by hand, or we post you a pack of resources, and things like that little blackboard are a part of that. So this is an example of a club that I just went to a couple of weeks ago. So this is Wakeboard WA. They don't have a food service. They have a barbecue, basically a cabana, so a sort of a tent, and a couple of trestle tables. But they do an amazing job at providing really healthy burgers for their participants, as well as free fruit that they've set up here on the table. And like lots of these little grab the good signs, the blackboards as well. So lots of things that they've done there. This is a T-ball club, and they purchased the containers as well as the fruit to be able to provide their players with some refreshments at halftime and before the game. I love this picture. This is the Peel Aquatic Club, and they used their funds to purchase the esky, and you can see there's a Waterwind sticker on the top of it, plus they have containers for the fruit that they provided because they came from Peel, but they participated in the competition in Northam, so the travel enabled them to buy that to take with them. And we talk a lot about a concept called water wins, and the idea about that is trying to reduce the consumption, the display, and the availability of sugary drinks. So this is just two examples of how you can do that, focusing on water. So buying a water container such as this that you can then take with you out to the field. Or in this instant, this is for a surf club. They purchased an esky, and then they stuck their Waterwind sticker on the top of it and had the water blackboard sitting on top of the esky, which is just such a great initiative. So for those of you that do have a food service, there's an extra $2,000 that is available to you. So you can choose the $500 voucher, is still available to you. So for the coordinator to manage the grant, we would be encouraging at least 2 members from the sports club to complete the Fuel to Go and Play training. And the reason for that is the person who is the coordinator would be completing the club officials and stakeholders training, whilst the person that is actually running the food service would be completing the canteen and food service training. Both of the training are available, obviously, for free on the Fuel to Go and Play website, and they're very simple to complete. Just yesterday, I received an email from someone who said that she downloaded every single resource that was available throughout the training and just couldn't wait to start implementing some of the strategies. So the training really is there to help and support you to know what to do with the funds and how you can create a healthy food environment. Again, using the toolkit of resources that we provide. So still doing all of those free fruit activations, healthy snacks, water stations, nutrition education sessions as per if you didn't have a food service. Restricting the display of sugary drinks is really important. So if your canteen or food service has sugary drinks for sale, we would be encouraging you to put stickers in front of those, make water being the focal point. So that's what the people that are coming up to buy drinks see the water first. It's not to say that you can't still provide them and sell them. It's just making sure that water is front and centre. And then, of course, purchasing equipment. So that supports the provision of healthy food and drinks, such as water bubblers, benchtop display fridges. And I will show you photos of some, and I'm sorry, once again, I'm just going to have to slide these out of the way, so I can show you some of the amazing things that some of the clubs have purchased. There are a few here that Tanya's going to cover in a minute. So
What are you doing?
There's obviously a full upright fridge here, and that was actually at the Equestrian Centre, and I'll show you images of those after when Tanya is talking. An oven was purchased here, you can see, to provide some healthier choices. This is a benchtop display, which can be used either, this one is for hot food, but the benchtop display fridges that are smaller, such as this one here, have been really popular. So obviously, if you're a club that runs in the summer months, being able to provide things like those small tubs of yogurt, maybe yogurt and granola, fruit salads, you could have these so that they can sit at eye level, because you can't be what you can't see. So for anyone that's coming up to purchase, you might have amazing fruit salad on offer, but if they can't see it, it's often not something that they're going to request. This is a commercial smoothie maker, and these have also been really popular. We've noticed that a lot of clubs do make smoothies both in summer and winter, and there are a whole wad of recipes on the Fuel to Go and Play website that support clubs and what they purchase. So if you're buying a smoothie maker, we've got lots of recipes for that. There's also recipes for soups, so a soup kettle, and I know I can't find the image of the soup kettle, which is around here somewhere, sorry. A soup kettle such as this one. These have also been really popular, both for soup as well as for porridge. And again, Fuel to Go and Play had developed a couple of recipes that are on our website, both for a coconut flavoured porridge and just a standard porridge, and how to keep it at the right consistency to sell it throughout the day. This is the most recent club that we went to. This is the Kwinana Tigers Hockey Club. So they, I think they actually received the full $4,000, and with those funds, they purchased that display fridge that you can see just in the window. They also purchased this water bubbler as well, and some other just small pieces of equipment. This is one of their amazing volunteers. This is actually inside that Kwinana Hockey Club, and you can see he's got the hat and the apron and everything on as well. So there's a lot you can do if you have a food service, and these are just some really simple examples. So other clubs have, purchased larger pieces of equipment, or just a lot of smaller pieces, really depending on what they need. So basically, you have a Fuel to Go and Play coach, and what we do is support you throughout your journey. So once Fuel to Go and Play have assessed your application and they've told you that you've been successful, then we reach out to you and we help you for the 2 years that you have to acquit the funds. So you don't have to do it all in one season. You have 2 full seasons to do that. We will come and visit you if you're in the metro area. I'd love to be able to come regional, but that's not the case. Happy to set up a Teams meeting with you, or simply chat to you online about how we can support you, and then provide you with all the resources as well. So your role, obviously, once you find out that you've been successful, I have it on good authority that Healthway will work with you in every step of the way to ensure that you are successful. So if you're unsure about what you're going to apply for, I really strongly encourage you to pick up the phone and call Healthway or send them an email, and they'll work through your application with you. You must complete the Fuel to Go and Play training, which is what I've spoken about. And then once you do that, then it's a matter of just sharing your journey with us. And I will reach out to you regularly just to see how you're going and come and visit you and provide you with all the resources and the tools that you need. Fuel to Go and Play has social media tiles for you to use. We have nutrition advice. We will help you run workshops. We will support the canteen by looking at their menu and encouraging them to swap out some unhealthy choices for some healthier ones. The website has a multitude of fact sheets and recipes as well. We can provide you with newsletter content. There's really just so much that we can offer you to assist to make sure that if it's a 2-year journey, that it's easy for you. And if you acquit your funds within 6 months, then that's absolutely fine too. And we can help you through the acquittal process as well. I have no doubt that you've probably got questions, but I am mindful of time, and I wanted to introduce Tanya from the Albany Equestrian Centre, who has successfully applied for a grant. And Tanya, perhaps I'll just hand over to you. I'm not sure whether you've actually spent all of your funds or whether you're still working through that, but I'll hand over to you as our amazing case study.
Hi everybody. Good evening. Last year, the Albany Equestrian Centre were lucky enough to receive the grant from Healthy Way. The idea behind applying for the grant was to purchase a water bubbler stand to give us access to nice, fresh, clean drinking water, because our water's not that great at the centre. So after we purchased the water bubbler, we still had funds left over. So we kind of went to town and buying a few of the nice things to update our appliances, which has made our canteen much more efficient to run. We're just trying to get the healthy options into our kids and our parents that come to the equestrian centre, or for horse riding. And we're just trying to get away from the traditional quick takeaway foods that's easy to do. We're trying to integrate the fresh and healthy options. The Albany Equestrian Centre, we have 5 clubs that all use the facilities, all ranging from ladies, older ladies, down to the kids at Pony Club. We're all using the new appliances, which has been really great. I myself are involved with the Albany Pony Club. So we have lots of young kids that we're trying to encourage to have the healthy options right from when they're little. The resources and the promotional tools that we received from Fuel to Go have been really great. We've just plastered it all over the club rooms. We have a really big club rooms with the canteen on the end. So it's been really nice to, show the kids how to go about that. We have stickers and posters with our containers for change all in one area. And, the kids have been really good. They haven't really complained too much about not having healthy, not having the more takeaway types foods. With our new appliances like the blender smoothie maker and the self-serve display cabinet, is all made preparing the healthy options for the kids so much quicker than what it was before, when we were trying to decide what we were going to have, because we go by the seasons. So it's just taken all the guesswork out of it, and we've trying to stick to the traffic light system, more green than red. We've had no complaints so far. We've been doing it for about 6 months now. So switching has, just made our canteen a lot more happier, and it's making our job easier being the canteen ladies. And our canteen is always a hive of activity for our rallies. The grant was really, really easy to apply for. We fell under the sporting club with the canteen category. The help that we have received along the way has been great. We've been talking to Amanda on and off over the last few months, just making sure that we're still on target to how we want to keep things running. And I really recommend anyone to have a go at the grant. And yeah, just to take the time to investigate. We've had 4 of our parents sit the online training, which has been really good. So if one of us isn't there, we've got someone else to pick up the slack and just keep, you know, trying to push the water and not having the sugary drinks, and the yeah, trying to just, you know, show the kids how it should be. And yeah, so far it's been going really great. So yeah, it's been really good. But
Thank
yeah,
you
have a look on the
so much,
website, and
Tanya.
it's really easy.
I think the fact that you're telling people that it's easy. I mean, look, the number of applications that Healthway get demonstrates that it is relatively easy to apply. And as we were saying, either myself or Healthway can sort of walk you through the types of items that you can use the funds for, and then what you need to do through that process. So, Tanya, thank you so much for sharing your story. I think sometimes, you know, we can tell you, but I think hearing it from somebody that's actually applied and was successfully and implemented is so important.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. Really good.
Great. Thank you. So I am now going to hand over to Pippa, who's going to talk to you about Containers for Change.
Thanks, Amanda. Thanks so much. I'm just going to share my screen as well. So just give
Hopefully
me a
more
moment.
successfully than me.
Go. All right. I might just put mine in presenter mode. There we go. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yep.
So as Amanda said at the start, I am the community development lead at Containers for Change. So basically developing resources, working on different ways that we can support the many fundraising organisations that are involved in the scheme, including community groups, charities, sporting clubs and schools as well. So I know most of you are probably well across Containers for Change, but I'd just like to talk a little bit about the why of why we have it in WA, and yeah, why it's a good thing for clubs to get involved in as well. So just a little bit, I guess, about the why for WA, why we needed it. So we are part of a national scheme, but it was definitely time for WA to get on board. So many people don't know that we use 13 billion drink containers over 10 years. I think that's actually gone up now. I saw that the last stat for last year was 1.45 billion for the year containers. So that over a 10-year period, it's enough to fill Optus Stadium 3 times, which is pretty shocking. And prior to the scheme starting as well, 44% of all litter in WA was actually made up of eligible 10-cent containers that now go through the scheme. So it's just such a huge volume of what the litter that was out there. So something needed to be done about that. And sadly, only 3 out of 10 of those containers were actually being recycled. So the rest of those were just going straight to landfill. So just a huge volume that are ending up in litter or landfill, which just has huge environmental impacts and health impacts for you know, the whole environment and humans basically. Since Containers for Change started, which we commenced in October 2020, there's now 264 locations across the state where you can cash in eligible drink containers for a 10-cent refund. So it's generally containers that are taken outside of the home. Can be confusing, even sometimes to us that work there. But we do have to meet the guidelines of the national scheme. And I think probably the best way that I describe it to people when it sometimes doesn't make sense is that we have to put some parameters on it while the scheme builds itself and is embedded, because it is hand sorted. But we believe that over time it will just increase in what is available and eligible to be redeemed through the scheme. But since it has started, 2.1 billion 10-cent drink containers have been collected and recycled through the scheme. So it's just made a huge impact compared to all those containers that were previously going to landfill. And over 7 million in refunds has actually gone back to not-for-profits in Western Australia. So that's those charities, schools, community groups and clubs as well. So we actually have 5,000 registrations from that audience, which is just amazing. and it's actually reduced that 44% that was litter made up of containers, our 10-cent containers, is now down to 4%. So it's actually working, but there is more to be done. So we're only actually getting 61% through the scheme of what's out there. So it's doubled as far as what's now being recycled, which is great in the just over 2 years. But there's still quite a lot to do. And a lot out there still available for community groups, charities and whatnot to fundraise as well. So quite often I think community groups and organisations think, oh, everybody's already doing that and there isn't any really left to collect, but there definitely is, they're out there. So just a little bit, I guess, about why your club should get involved. Just a quick overview. So obviously to raise funds for your club. I have a background working with community organisations and doing grants programs, and I just know, to get funds through grants, can be timely. Obviously, these ones from Fuel to Go and Play and Healthway seem super easy, but often ones to spend on just cash things in your club can be hard work. So we know that it's a great way that you can basically have trickle in of funds over time without having to do that much. So it also can make your operations and what you do, whether you have a canteen or not, more sustainable, I think, which is a really great thing to say and a great thing to commit to as an organisation. It promotes really positive behaviours for young people. I was at a school today and it was just amazing to hear all their knowledge about recycling and waste reduction and just sustainability in general. And I think it encourages communities to contribute that to the club as well. So people can be collecting at home and drop them down to the refund point and just use the club's member number and donate that way. So maybe I know it's harder these days to get volunteers involved in clubs, and really any volunteering work is struggling for numbers. But if people can do stuff, outside of that and contribute, that can be really positive. And yeah, hopefully it saves time spent on other fundraising activities. So often you need a lot of volunteers and time spent to do, special nights and occasions to raise money or raffles. And hopefully with this, you can raise the funds and then put those things on for everyone to enjoy. So I just have a couple of case studies as well. I don't have anyone to talk, unfortunately, but I do have some really great examples that I just wanted to run through a little bit. So one of them is the Magpies Fremantle Coburn Hockey Club. So Matt was actually on a plane when I spoke to him, heading off somewhere, but he did come back and provide me some really great information. But this just gives you a little snapshot, I guess. Obviously, they've got the bins around their venue, and he told me they have 6 bins. They also partner, their refund point is Ability WA. And it's a great thing to highlight because a lot of the organisations that run our refund point network, they're actually not-for-profits in their own right. So some of them are disability employment services, like Ability WA and Good Sammys. Some of them are, gosh, there's so many, Aboriginal corporations, environmental organisations, Scouts WA, you name it. So even at that level, at the refund point network, it's also, really contributing back in social impact in WA. And to be able to, I think as a club partner, then with someone like Ability WA is just great. It's just another benefit, I think, to promote through your network. So what you can see here is that the club we have Empties Day in the summer, and that's because we know there's a really large volume of consumption over the summer periods. And so we really promote that and put a lot of funding into that to drive people to take all their empties back to the refund points, but also to donate them to charities. So it's a big push we do in January. So the club here have really used that to their advantage. This is just a snip of a social media post that they've done. And he shared that, but also just really shared it to their club that it's on. Here's our member number. Either people can bring their containers into the club and the club get them collected, or people can take them straight to the refund point depot and they can donate them themselves as well. So that's something we always push, is really to promote your member number and get it out there to your club. And the next one is Diamonds Netball Club. So we're really, really excited to be working with Netball WA. We'll have bins and a little bit of activation at the club, the 3-day championships coming up, and also the NAIDOC Carnival in July. And we've got some other things as well going on with Netball WA, including information on their website, and yeah, some other little bits and pieces coming up for clubs. So, but yeah, Diamonds Netball Club, again, they're using their social media really, really well. But what I really liked is that when they first joined, they started off with a bang. So they made sure they emailed all of their club members with information so that they were across what Containers for Change is, how to get involved, sharing their member number everywhere, and then they've kept up that momentum. So they make sure they share their member number regularly and remind people. They take advantage of events and club functions to collect containers, because often consumption is higher at events because people bring along containers, or you might be selling additional drinks. And then they keep up that momentum with Facebook posts and things like that as well. So you'll see here they've done a great job just doing shout outs on their social media and again sharing that member number. And I really like the way that they pointed out where the closest Containers for Change recycling site is. They've actually said there's 2 in Coburn. So it's really making it easy for people to pop down there themselves and donate the containers and pass them on to the club for fundraising. So how to get involved with Containers for Change. I just want to say this is a really quick run through. There is heaps more information on our website, but really the basics are sign up for a member number to get started. So when you sign up for your member number, you get a unique code for your organisation. It's really easy to do this on our website. It is then linked to a bank account for the club. We now have a setup where you can have several people as what we call the captains, but that's basically the admin. And then you can even have additional volunteers on there who can kind of view the fundraising and your goals and things, but not change the extra information in the background. But once you have that, it allows you to start fundraising. So make sure you have sort of someone that you know is driving the program in your club, but it's always good to have, I think a couple of people involved, because we all know, all clubs are volunteer run, and it's hard work, and sometimes people get burnt out or people leave for whatever reason. So it's good to have a few people involved, I think, in what's going on and across everything. Decide what your approach is. So how are you going to collect containers? Are you going to collect them at your club? Are you going to promote through your network to take those virtual donations? I always recommend do everything and anything you can, put it out everywhere. So get container savvy, number 4. So what that one is about is getting your head around what is eligible, what isn't. One of the things so many people don't realize is that little juice boxes are actually eligible for 10 cents. And so are small flavored milk, not full milk, that's a whole other conversation, but small flavored milks are. And a lot of people don't realize that. So make sure not only you're across it, but also through your network, because there may be so many more opportunities for collecting those containers that people don't even realize. So that information is all on our website, and you can share it as well with people so that they get their head around it. Get to know your local refund points. So like we saw with Matt at the hockey club, you can have a really great partnership. He told me that when those bins are full, they just send them a message, and they're usually there the next day to pick them up for them. So hop on our website. There is a lookup tool for refund points. You can pop in your postcode. Obviously, regional, there's not as many options, but most places now have coverage. If not, some of the refund points will actually do a bit of a milk run, and they'll pick up every few weeks from regional locations. So definitely give them a call and see what they'll offer you. If you get really stuck, please reach out to us so that we know of the gaps and maybe we can help, because we might know of an option that you're not aware of. Reach out to local businesses. Some of the top community groups, schools, you name it, that are doing really well with their fundraising, they've reached out to a local cafe or a business, and that business really wants to do the right thing and collect the containers, but they're not that fussed about the, extra little bits of money here and there, or it's just too hard for them to do the extra bit of taking them in. So they may be more than willing to donate the containers to the club. And you can just give them a little bit of, shout outs and good PR for it, I think. And it's just extra funding that comes into your organisation. And again, you may think all cafes or bars or all those sorts of venues are already doing that, but you'd be surprised how many out there are not. So reach out and see how they can support. And same goes to your local MPs and things like that. Quite often they might do a monthly club of the month or school of the month that they're willing to support. And finally, spread the word. So as I said, get it out there through your network, social media, emails, everything. And we have a whole lot of different resources and tools now that we can supply to you to help you do that. So we now have a whole range of resources that we can supply to you. So we have a brand folder. I'm sure that you'll be getting this presentation afterwards, so you'll be able to access this link. But there's a digital folder basically with all of our fundraising assets, and you can just download them all for free and print them. We also have some kits at the moment where we're willing to send. We've got some fundraising toolkits, which is basically a box full of all of our resources or a sample of each, and a bin and 200 bags. So I have put on here Metro only because we've got some complications with regional shipping and things. But I have for this session, I'm more than happy that anyone that attended today can email us at getinvolved@warrell.com.au, which is on there, and we can supply you with a fundraising kit to get you started. So all you'll need for that is send us through an email, and you'll need to have a member number. But yeah, so we'd be happy to do that, and then we can get you going with your club and your fundraising. The other thing that has changed in the last few months, so towards the end of last year, we have a monthly e-newsletter called Changemaker Champions. So this is for community groups and charities. It's a really great place to see ideas from other groups that are fundraising, but also whenever we have new resources or giveaways and things, that's where it'll be. So what we're finding is some people's accounts are with maybe someone that's left the club now and you don't realise you're still using that member number. If that's the case, please try to update it so you know the person is getting these emails, but you can certainly hop on our website as well and sign up for that e-newsletter whenever you'd like. The website has also had a huge refresh last year, so it's now just full of resources. That refund point lookup is on there. You can also have a read on there about eligible containers, what's in, what's out. And also you can even, if you're really unsure, put in the barcode to check if containers are eligible or not. There's a whole lot of case studies on there. And there's also the links to the brand folder and all those different locations as well. So please check that out. Yeah, really urge you to have a look, even if you're an early adopter of Containers for Change and you've been involved since the start. I bet you'll go on there and you'll find there's a whole lot of new stuff that you didn't know about. And we're just adding to it all the time. So I really encourage you to do that. And yeah, finally, just reach out to us for support. So this email is our community team email. So get involved at Warrell, warrl.com.au. We can help you out if you're stuck with matching with a refund point closest to you. If there's additional materials you need, if you're just stuck in any way, really. Tips or events and other things going on. We also have an event guide. Just reach out. A lot of the learnings that have gone into our range of resources we have available have come from community organisations. So the scheme started, and since then we've had, as is always the way, all these amazing ideas and creativity that's come from community and community organisations. So that's what's gone into there. So we always love to hear from the groups that are involved. So please reach out whenever you get stuck or need support, or hey, maybe we just feature you as a case study in our newsletter as well, which we would love to do too. And that is it for me. So we've got our final slide here with the details for myself at Containers for Change and also Fuel to Go. And I might just check back.
There's one question for you there, Pippa,
okay.
from Joe,
Cool.
that says, where did the stickers for the wheelie bins from the Magpie hockey team come from?
Stickers for the wheelie bins. Yeah, hang on a second. Let me just check the stickers. I think they might be our standard ones. Yeah, so those ones come on our bins, and Ability WA now put them on all of their bins as standard. Some of the refund points don't, and they use a different type stickering, but we're working on that to have it more consistent. But the fundraising pack actually has a sticker in it now, and we also can access some other stickers for you as well. So if you've got your own bins, a lot of regional communities use all sorts of things as bins, and I tell you, it's working, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, certainly having some reference to our brand and that, it does really help, because that is really helping with that behaviour change element, I think, of people recognising the scheme. So if you'd like some stickers and you can't access any through your refund point, again, just use that email and we'd be happy to send you some out.
Joe has another question.
Hang on, I'll just pop in the chat. How much does it cost to buy extra bins? It depends. Joe, you're in Peel, aren't you? Yeah. I think they're about $75. There are some refund points in the area that will supply them to you for free, though. So in the Peel region. So I would reach out to a couple in the area and see what they can offer you. If you're Peel or you're Metro, I always say to people, hop on that lookup tool, look up 3 refund points nearest to you and just ring them all and say, this is what we want to do, what can you offer us? It's great for them to be competitive, and I want them all to be supporting all our clubs and schools and whatnot as much as possible. So ring them and ask them that and put that to them. And yeah, when you look it up on the lookup, just be aware that sometimes there's like pop-up things and that come up. So you want to find the depots to be able to ring through and speak to someone on there. But as I said before, if you get stuck, just reach out to our team and we will help you out.
Great. Does anybody have, if you wanted to take yourself off mute and ask a question, if that's easier for you rather than using the chat function, then, or you can raise your hand if you know how to use the raising of the hand function, and we can come back to you. Now is a great opportunity. At the end of the session, I will send everybody an email that will have contact details in it, and just a link so that you can go directly to the Containers for Change or the Fuel to Go and Play and Healthway website. So just to clarify, Seth, you have a question?
Yes, so we're a new club, obviously don't have a canteen, but we could be eligible for the $2,000 grant. My question is, we don't have, we've only got one event that we have with Volleyball WA a year, and we're looking at hosting another couple of events. What's the likelihood of a club like ours, who doesn't have a canteen, who doesn't have regular home training venue, what are the chances of a club like ours accessing that $2,000 grant?
I would say the potential of you receiving that grant is the same as everybody else's, right? Really, like your application, if you can just identify that you wanted to support healthy choices with your participants or your members. So do you have training days?
We have training, yeah, absolutely. And
so you could use the funds to do activations, or just simply to provide a healthy eating message at each of your training days. So depending on how many members you have or how many players or participants, you could simply just provide free fruit and vegetables at training days, free water. You could purchase an esky so that when you go to the larger events, you can keep everything cold. You can run a large activation at those other events that you were talking about, even if you only did one big event in the year. It's really about trying to get the messages across. You could, you get provided with things like hats and aprons and little blackboards, but you could buy some other promotional material if you wanted to, or talk to us about what other things that you think you could need. But there really are lots of opportunities, and it doesn't need to be something that's specifically tangible. Whilst that's great if you've got a food service, but anything that really just helps to promote. You might find that you want to teach, perhaps, is your age group specific or for the club?
Over 18.
Yeah,
we are looking at developing a 13 to 17 program.
Yeah, so maybe they need some nutrition information about how to increase, to work on refueling after they've played or something of that nature. Then we can certainly help you to facilitate a nutrition education session that would use some of your funds as well. So there are a number of things that you can do.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Anybody else have any other questions? Nope. Looks like we must have covered everything, Pippa.
Looks like it. Too thorough. Or maybe everyone's just halfway through dinner. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. So I just wanted to thank everybody for taking the time. Does somebody have their hand up?
Yeah, sorry, me. Another Pippa.
Hi, Pippa.
Hi. Just a question on timing and of the grants. Is there particular times when they're awarded, deadlines, that kind of thing, or is it just continuous throughout the year?
It is continuous. That's another, the beautiful thing about the grants now is that it used to be seasonal. So there used to be a summer and winter round. It's now open. The grants are open all year round. There can be a slight delay because what happens with Healthway is that they all get pulled, well, a certain number of them get pulled together in months, and then they get assessed as a whole group. And then once they're signed off on, it can be somewhere, it could be 2 months, it could be 3 months. It just depends on when your application is submitted. But it's pretty easy just to contact them and say, look, I've sent my application in. How far away do you think it is? Once you were to receive a letter from Healthway to say, congratulations, you have been successful in, grants being approved. The 2 steps that you do with us is obviously the training and then a meeting with me. I then let Healthway know that you've met those 2 obligations, and then they process your payment. Once you've met those obligations, you can actually start to purchase the things that you need before the money hits your account. Because again, with Healthway, because it's a large organisation, sometimes there can be a slight delay in the money actually getting into your account. But as long as you keep receipts, you can actually make some purchases before the funds arrive. So I can't give you a definitive on how long that takes. It really just depends on when your application is submitted, and then when it gets processed through their sort of, it's got to go through a number of avenues at Healthway first.
Sure. Okay, that's great.
And remembering you do have 2 years. So I was down at Coogee Beach Surf Club today. Now their season literally finished 2 weeks ago, and they've just received their notification to say they've been successful in receiving a grant. But they've now got 4 months to decide what they're going to do with their, I think, close to $3,000 before their season starts again in October. And they don't have to spend it all then. They can hang some of that over to next year as well. So it is quite good. You've got 2 years to spend the funds.
Fab. Thank you.
Pleasure. So I think if there's no other questions, I will send out an email to you that just has a few links in it so that you can contact either Pippa or myself or Healthway. There's a very simple, I call it a tick and flick. It's got 3 questions in it, this survey, which literally says 3 questions, 3 answers. It's very simple. It's tick a box. If you could take the time to do that, that would be really appreciated as well. So thanks, everybody. I know sitting in on a webinar at 6:30 at night is no easy task. So well done. Go and have your dinner. And if you have any questions for either Pippa and I, please reach out in the future. And I wish you all the success in your fundraising and your grant application activities in the future.
Yes, thank you so much as well from me. Thanks for having me. And yeah, please reach out if you need any support.
Great. Thanks, everybody. See you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Pippa. I'll send out that email either later tonight or probably tomorrow. And I'll edit the webinar a little bit so that I can take out the 15 to 20 minutes at the beginning, and then I'll upload it. I might be able to transfer it to you, or I'm not quite sure how that works.
Yeah, that's probably transfer. That would work fine.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Great. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Thank
Pippa.
you.
Have a good night. You too.
Bye.
See you.
See
Bye.
ya.